welcome to the newest episode of Borderline Podcast Disorder. I hope you had a good week. I hope your weekend turns out to be what you want it to be. Whether you wanted a calm weekend, whether you wanted to go out and have a great time, whatever you want to do, I hope it happens. Um, how's this week been? Ooh, not bad. Yeah, actually, it's been a good it's been an all right week so far. Busy, very very busy. Been out gigging again. Had some wonderful shows. I've got a couple more coming out soon. That I'm really excited about. So yeah, that's good. Um, Recorded a lot for the podcast, and although I think in August I'll be taking a week off, you'll still get your episode. Don't worry. But I just won't be recording for 1 week in August, as I'm taking some time to relax. Not loads, but some of the people who were on the podcast previously are in Edinburgh for the Fringe, and I wish them luck. So recording it's becoming really distracting because Sarma and Pickle are playing around a lot, but we love them so much, and we finally got the memes, when you buy your cat something and they're more excited about the box that the said something came in rather than the toy itself. That's them. That's them now. They are loving the box. They haven't touched the toy, but it's all good, because we want them to be happy, and they seem happy. I hope. Oh yeah, I took them to the vets, so it's this week. I took them to the vets and to the vet, and I went at the right time on the right date for the right appointment, which I haven't done last week when I had to walk back home um, from the vet after it took me a while to put them in a backpack, but they got in the backpack super quick this week. I was surprised. It's only that once they were in there, I think Sarma was keen to get out. Um, but as soon as we walked out of the house, they were very relaxed. I hope they enjoyed the atmosphere. They enjoyed the touristic attractions in East London, where we're based. But I think that's enough because again we talked once already this week, so you got a very fresh update. So I'm just gonna let you enjoy my conversation with Henry. Um, it's been really good. It's been real. I've learned some stuff about Henry during the conversation that I had no idea about before. Although we um, had the opportunity to talk a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it. Really, I think again going through the editing bit, I've just remembered how much fun I had recording with Henry, and I hope you enjoy the conversation too. Check out the summary to get Henry's socials, and yeah, if you're in London, if you're a London-based listener, or if you are visiting London, check out his the comedy night that he's running with Desmond, and yeah, enjoy. Let's get going. Henry, how's it going?
Yep, thank you very much for having me. I'm good. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Did you travel from far?
I'm from Upminster, which is last stop on the district line, but can get a National Rail C2C as well. But it's Sundays. It wasn't good today, but it's not too far normally.
Are you originally from Upminster?
Yeah, yeah. Well, born in Barking, but moved to Upminster when I was a little kid and pretty much grew up, went to school there, primary, secondary, lived there my whole life. Yeah, I'm still living there now, but I'm hoping to move out soon.
Where did you think about some places where you want to move, or
Yeah, to be honest, there's a few places just in terms of comedy because you probably know this. You want to do it as much as you can, and sometimes when you're living in a place that's a bit too far away, it's a deterrent. You know, and don't want to get home at 11:30 every night.
yeah,
And I'd like to live more in North London, just where all the gigs are, so I can try and do them every night rather than 2, 3 a week. You know.
that makes sense because I think when I first moved to London, I was living in Islington,
Yeah.
and although it was pricey, I think it helped me out a lot at the beginning to actually be able to do
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
much as possible and like to get into the scene. But I see what you're saying. Because how long you've been around the comedy? Like how long you've done it for?
Yesterday, 1st of June, was 2 years since I first done a gig.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
Mazel Tov.
yeah. I didn't do anything to celebrate it, but yeah, it's just a nice little reminder. 1st of June every year is another year done.
That's a good, because in some I don't know countries or cultures, the 1st of June is actually because in Romania as well we celebrate the international like Youth Day.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, I think although it started from a communist tradition because it was this
Right.
day to celebrate the youth
It's like
of
Father's
the
Day, but
country.
for kids.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you celebrate the what do you call it? The next generation, the generation
Mm.
to come. So
Oh
that's why I
nice.
think I find it funnier now because
Yeah.
that's your like the day when you started comedy
Yeah.
when it is actually the day of celebrating youth. Because I guess in a way, were you always a creative person? Did you
In
have any outlets before the comedy?
in a way, but only like privately, only like internally. Like I've always wrote things like TV ideas and film ideas and all that stuff. But I never, when growing up at school at uni, never like had the confidence to kind of actually like, put myself out there.
Oh.
But always like was always secretly doing things and wanting to do things, but never actually like doing anything.
And how did you come across doing comedy, or like when did you start thinking, oh, I like this, I want to
Mm.
give it a go? How did you get
Well,
around it?
well, it's one of those things that I think everyone will say this that they always wanted to do it, and it took them a while to realize that they could do it. It was like one of those things that always watching comedians on TV and being funny in like a public, like in social situations, in like friendship groups and at school and down the pub and all that stuff, making people laugh. And I've always just been a big fan of comedy. Like growing up, like I love like Seinfeld and SNL and stuff like that. And I remember I come home from uni and I was saying to my mum, "Oh, I want to actually go into doing stand up." So she helped me look at societies at uni to do like stand up societies, like a club, like a uni club.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, national pandemic got announced. Yeah. So I was like, just might, it's like God telling me, no, don't do it, don't go into doing it. And yeah, and then and then I used that time in lockdown. I just watched loads of specials on Netflix. Like I watched shows like Norm Macdonald, Trevor Noah, Dave Chappelle, like just as much as I could. Loads of sitcoms, all that stuff. I mean, that was what you were supposed to do during lockdown anyway. It
Yeah.
was like you were told to watch TV, really. And then so I was just following the rules, laying in bed watching TV for 2 years. And then I come out. I left uni, and obviously when stuff started to like come back, I was doing my dissertation, so I was like focused on actually finishing uni, and things weren't really open in 2021, were they? It was like
No.
weird. It was like you could sit outside and have a meal, but you had to have like substantial meal with a beer, and it was
Yeah.
confusing times. And then I left, got a full-time job in London when I moved back home after graduating, and I wanted to do it straight away, and I kept looking up open mics, and I kept going to go and then bottling it. And I was like, oh, like everyone's so good, I don't want to do it. And then eventually I just was like, I'll do a course. Like, because the benefit of doing a course for me was you start it and in 6 weeks you have to perform. Whether you what, like, obviously
Whether
you
you
don't,
want or not.
yeah, well, you don't obviously don't have to. There were some people in my course who didn't, who dropped out.
Oh.
But it is like that. You've got a date in 6 weeks' time. For me, 1st of June, 2022. You have to perform then. Just work towards that, and everyone else is also at the same level. Because sometimes you go to open mics and there's people who've been doing it for a good few years, and they're just trying out new stuff, but they're still really good at it. And when it's your first ever gig, you're like, wow, everyone's so good. I'm rubbish. But they've been doing 200 gigs by that point. So to do a gig with everyone as their first time is so much easier, so calmer, and so more relaxed. Although Not really. I don't know if it's a funny story because people do find it funny, but it's quite embarrassing, really. But I was absolutely slaughtered on my first gig. Absolutely pissed out of my head. I feel bad, but it's the truth. So it was the 1st of June, 22, and do you remember it was the Platinum Jubilee?
Yeah.
Yeah, Queen's is the Queen's. It wasn't her birthday. It was how as
50 years of
50
being in
years
charge.
of being
Yeah.
of being the Queen. Yeah, and uh, and and so my work, we had a half day. It was a Thursday. It was a long week. I think it was like the Friday and the Monday we had off. I think it was 4 day weekend. And Thursday our work finished half day, and the company, the bar right next to the site that I work on, they put some money behind the bar, and it was like free drinks in a way. So I went there, and I was with my dad because I work with my dad, and a few of the boys I work with had a few beers there, and it was right near. At the time I was working in Vauxhall, and the first gig was Joda Toulouse-Lautrec. I think that's what it's called.
No.
But it's like a little it's like a music pub. It's a pub and restaurant with like a nice like music jazz venue upstairs,
Okay.
like a jazz kind of pub, and so it was there, and that was like 15-minute walk, 5-minute bus from where I work. So I was like, okay, I'll stay and have some beers. I had about 4 with work. Jumped on the bus. Still ended up. The gig started at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Still ended up there at 6:30, and was like, okay, I'll go into the beer garden and I'll write and have a beer. Ended up having like another 3, and then the gig started. I was closing the first half, so I had another one while watching it, and I didn't realize it was just like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Who knew that 8 pints would get you drunk? I was honestly, I was so naive about it, and I ended up going on stage, doing my set. Did well, for what I can remember, from what I hope anyway. And then got off stage, and it was an interval. I went straight back up to the bar after I got off stage, and these 2 boys. So everyone brought their like family and friends to the
Yeah.
gig. I didn't bring anyone because I was too nervous. But these 2 boys, who were one of the other comic, well, I don't think he does comedy anymore, but one of the other performers was his friends, and they come up to me and was, "Oh man, you were so good, man. You were really good. And I love that whole like acting drunk bit." And I know, and I looked at him and I was like,
Like, yeah,
and
yeah.
I looked at my friend Chelsea and I was like, and then the guy went to his mate, like nudged him and was like, "Go on, tell him." He was like, "Yeah, man, the whole like pretending to slur your words, that was so smart. Like, I like there's a whole good persona you got, like pretending to be alcoholic." And I looked at my friend Chelsea and she's like, "Yeah, you're smashed." So I was like, "Thank you very much." Just turned around and bought another beer. Oh my god, yeah. I remember waking up the next day just so like embarrassed, and I had a video of my set and didn't want to watch it back. And but then actually that persuaded me to jump straight into open mics because I I was just like, I really want to do it and I want to remember doing it. So straight away I applied for G&B and emailed him and got a gig the next week. So and I was like, right, I'm not gonna have a beer. So I done that sober and done really well and actually remember doing it. And then since then, just been doing it every week. Yeah,
Man, that's amazing because I think it's oh God, I don't think I've ever no, I well that's the thing. I can't remember if I when I was drinking whether I did some gigs that I was like smashed on, but I do know I understand the feeling when you do a show and like a gig and it's not going well or it's not like not necessarily well but it's not what you want it to be or like how you want
yeah,
to remember
yeah,
and
yeah.
then you're just like, oh, I need the next one because you kind of
100%,
you need to bounce back as soon as possible.
without a doubt. I've done that where one of my biggest ever bombs. It was the day after my 23rd birthday. The day after my birthday, I done a gig, and it was nearly all the comics I knew had like been to the pub with them after gigs, spent time with them. I knew them all, and I was really happy. Everything, and I got too cocky, thinking I could go and run a whole new 5 that I wrote that day. And I went and I bombed so hard, and I was so embarrassed because I was like, I had like just some really silly confidence that day. I was like, oh, it's just been my birthday. Everyone knows it. I'm gonna kill it. They're all gonna love it. And I went and I bombed. And I honestly, and it was I was on in the first half, and I was like, I want to go home. I need to go home. This is horrible. And then the next day I had a gig booked, and I went to think it was a Pret or a Nero's or something. Just had a cup of tea and just wrote, and actually really took it seriously. Wrote my like rewrote all the good ones I had, some new stuff, added it all together, and tried to really like make a set just to. And that's what you need, because sometimes you can get so lazy with it, thinking you're better than you are, and then you get hits like really bad bombs, and you're like, shit, I need to take this seriously, otherwise I'm just wasting everyone's time. Do you know what I mean?
That's a fair point, and I think that's a very that's a good way to look at it. You know, when you like, you know, you gotta see it as a, you know, do the best you can, you know, and you're aiming for the. And I agree. I think sometimes you do, although they are like very, um, I don't know, they're very harsh, but the reality checks are necessary,
Mm.
because I think actually very recently I did a club spot, and I thought, oh my god, and I went really well, and I did
Good.
like I was happy.
Mm.
I was like, oh, I smashed it. I was like, oh my god, this is great. And then professional comic came to close in the
Mm.
section, and that I actually I don't remember his name, but anyway, he like he made the audience. They were all like in stitches,
Yeah,
people, and I
yeah.
and I was like, I've tried like I tried material that I had for, you know, a long time,
Mm.
and then and I thought, oh my god, I'm so good, and then
Mm.
this next guy just again kills it to a next level, and
Yeah,
then you're
yeah,
like, oh, okay, fine, I'm not there,
yeah.
you know, and you gotta get there. But yeah, I agree. I think sometimes it's harsher than others. I think my worst, I still my worst bomb. I did the same thing, but like 6 months into 5 months into comedy,
Mm.
5 or 6 months into comedy, because I started in October, and then in June, I decided to go on a TV show in Romania.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, did you start performing when you was in Romania?
No, no, it's in
You
Manchester.
started it. I thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went. You then you must have thought, oh, I'm smashing it here. I'm gonna go and come back home like I'm doing like a homecoming.
Well, not necessarily the homecoming, but basically, because actually, funnily enough, I think on the platinum jubilee was my first, because I had a bucket split that I got before that, but
Nice.
actually on that jubilee was my first paid
Oh,
spot.
quality.
So that's why I remember the weekend very well. But around, I think maybe just a week later, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. Basically, I spoke with someone from a TV show in Romania, and they were like, oh, you know, why don't you come? Like it was kind of like Romania's Got Talent before comedy.
Oh right, yeah.
I think some comedians from the circuit did it anyway, and then but then they were like, okay, cool. Well, you know, try and like write the joke, or like you need to write like a new. It was a 3 minutes. They were like, write a 3 minutes,
Mm.
but nothing to do with being Romanian.
Mm.
But then my
Well, yeah,
5 minutes,
yeah.
especially at the
Oh my
time, was about
god.
being Romanian. So I thought, okay, fuck it,
Oh
fine, I'll
god.
do it. And that's when I got cocky. I was like, you know what, I'm doing okay. You know, again, I remember thinking, oh, I just got 15 pounds to do 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm
The
like
big
next
time.
level. Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
next
yeah.
level comedian. And then I started writing stuff like on for the gig. And then I thought, oh my god, I'm smashing this. I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna do so well. And I went on and I did so badly.
Oh no.
I
Oh,
did
is the
so
footage still out there?
yeah. Um yeah, it's still, I haven't, the thing is, it's still 3 years later, I haven't, not
Mm.
three, almost 2.5 years later,
Mm.
I still have not watched the video.
Oh mate, I'd never watch that. Yeah. I
Um
try and burn every copy I could find. Yeah.
it's on their
Is
YouTube
it?
channel. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried not to get anywhere near it. And then what was, hey, so yeah, so then I do the spot, but it was like, because it was everything like recorded. It was about 3 or 4 p.m. when I did my bit, which
Mm.
would be aired months later. But I knew that I bombed. I knew that I did really shit.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
when it's a bomb, you know, no one needs to tell you. You know, yeah.
and I've emailed, no, I messaged this like comedy club in Romania,
Mm.
in Bucharest. I was like, hey, can I please come on?
Yeah, just need
I'm
it. Yeah.
desperate. I need the
Yeah.
gig. I was like, look, I'm flying back to England tomorrow. I can't
Yeah.
leave like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, come down. We'll get you on.
Mm.
And that's how I've done my first gig in Romania. No, actually second, because I did an open mic in Romania the day before the TV gig, which
Mm.
actually went quite okay. But then, yeah, that night I did my first, my second. But then I was, again, the only reason why, and I
Yeah.
kind of like run from just outside of Bucharest, back into Bucharest to
Mm.
go to that comedy club
Mm.
to get a spot because I
Yeah.
was like, I'm desperate. I need it.
Yeah.
I cannot go.
It's
I
good.
can't leave
Yeah.
the country
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. It's like mortifying. It's you need that like just someone please just give me a laugh, please. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would go on stage and I was like, okay, cool, let's try. And then you build it up and it went well. And again, it went okay.
Mm.
But you could still, like, I remember like trembling. I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
this is going to be so embarrassing. Anyway, that was my worst to date. I
But
think my,
you done jokes about being Romanian in like in the talent show thing. You went for it. You still
no,
oh you changed
that's the
it.
thing. I changed everything. Like everything was, which actually one or two of the bits that I did there are actually a part of my set. The one about like my dad balding and me figuring out. That's when I first picked it up.
Right, right.
But
That's
again,
good. That's good in a way. It's like that. That's like in a way throwing you in a deep end, being like all the stuff you've got, you can't do any of it. Find new stuff now, and it's like, and then that's when you go for jokes you've done once or twice, and it forces you to do. I've done that before, like so because it's similar to that. I done King Gong, and oh god, it's so horrible. I done it. It was it was like the 2nd of Jan, 2023, and I had like maybe a week and a half off was at Christmas and holidays and all that stuff. And then I went King Kong. And the nerves that I got from going to the comedy store and going on stage at the comedy store, plus having a week and a half off, it was like it's like my first ever gig again. It was horrible. And I went on there, I was like second as well. And the first guy they didn't like. And I was like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me. I went on there and I done the same where at the time my whole set was about being from Essex.
yeah,
I still do jokes every now and then, but not as much as I used to. And I remember they liked like the first one, and then I mentioned the word Essex again, and it was like some of them laughed, some of them moaned. I said the word Essex again, and they all moaned. And then I was like, "Oh my God! If you don't like, if you're bored of the fact I'm from Essex now, I'm not gonna last. You're not gonna like it." And I started laughing at myself because I knew full well what was coming.
yeah.
And as soon as I said the word again, bang, all three cards up, and I was gone. It was like, and that's when I was like, maybe, yeah, maybe don't do your whole set about where you live. After you say it once, they get it, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting, and like I said, it's such. But this is why it's. I don't know. I feel like some. So to an extent, I always go. Like I love comedy. That's the thing. You get around to the point where you just it wakes you up
Mm,
in a sense.
definitely,
But what
definitely.
did you? Because you're and also I was gonna say because I was gonna ask you earlier about I think what your mom helping you out to find the comedy
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
It
Like
was lovely. It was really lovely. Yeah, I was having a bit of a hard time at uni in second year because I I was enjoying in first year. I was enjoying like the social a lot and hanging out with friends and all of that stuff. Um, and obviously doing my classes, doing my lessons, everything like that. But outside of classes and outside of doing the homework, would just be out like drinking at pubs and clubbing all that stuff. And then when I got to second year, I was like, why did I even come to uni? What do I want from uni? And I had this kind of like this. I was just questioning it, like because everyone else, they were doing kind of extracurriculum things, like
okay,
maybe in a sports team or maybe like other sort of clubs and things. And I was like, what did I come to uni to do? What do I want in life? Um, and then I kind of was like, well, I don't know, I want to be a writer and be a comedian. And I come home. I was just coming home that weekend anyway. I come home and I kind of just was having just a chat with my mum, and I said that, and I was like, well, I don't know how to like. At the time, I was actually really upset because I was like, I've missed my chance. It's so silly now to think back on it, but I was like, first year's done. I missed that whole year of joining a society, joining a club. Now it's too late, and I still had like a year and a half left. And so I was like, actually, no, it's not. It's not. My mum helped me out. It was like, no, it's, you've still got loads of time. Like if you start now, this time next month, at least you'd have a month under your belt and stuff like that. And so I just joined the Facebook group chats, and I literally just went to send an email, and then literally the TV was on next door, and the news come on. It was Boris Johnson, and it was just like typical. And the worst thing actually with uni is next year when third year started, uh, September 2020, my uni allowed all sports to come back, all like rugby, hockey, football, all of that to come back. But anything that wasn't sports, any societies that was like poetry, or like some sort of art, anything like that, no,
Oh.
no, wasn't allowed because of the
Yeah.
coronavirus, social distancing. But and that was like, if only if I was dreaming of being a basketball player, and it had to be comedy.
But you know what? It's good that it worked out, and I think again, she sounds like a lovely lady.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
she
it
she's
sounds
the
like
best. Yeah,
yeah, it's yeah, it's beautiful, man. Because I
yeah,
think it's so important, and I think that even the way she treated all this,
yeah.
um, yeah. So now, because you were saying there's been 2 years of doing
Mm.
comedy. Yesterday, well,
Yesterday, yeah. But
when this
whenever
is
this
out,
comes
yeah,
out,
it's
yeah,
gonna be a few more, a couple of months in actually.
yeah, of course,
But
yeah,
you've done all right, though, no? Because you've done obviously you're running your own. You're running a night with
yeah,
Desmond, though. But you,
yeah. At one stage, I don't know what was going through my head. At one stage, I was running two nights a week, every week, three different venues, working full time, and I don't know how. I look back on it now, and I'm like, how did I do that? Because there were times where I wasn't even performing. I was just going to the gigs and setting the chairs up. Really, like, well, I was pretty much working in these pubs for free. Um, but I do enjoy it. I do. So one of my nights is shameless plug here.
oh no, please do.
It's
That's yeah.
it's the other side comedy. Still run that, and we just come back from Brighton Fringe, done a sold out run, 3 shows there. So good. Brighton Fringe is so lovely. Ben Carter, who runs it, is so helpful. We've booked to do Camden Fringe, and in comparison, Brighton Fringe is so easy, so straightforward, and just a really good guy. Ben Carter. I couldn't recommend doing Brighton Fringe enough. But but yeah, the other side, we that's really good. It's going well. And I was running comedy tonight. And as you know, I ran the marathon, so I stopped with comedy tonight to focus on my marathon training, and now I could have gone back. I speak to Yvonne every now and then. Comedy tonight is a great night in Hammersmith, but it's just Hammersmith's just so far. It's on the other side of the city from me. So to go there and shoot, I was getting home at like 11:30, and to not even perform some weeks, it was I'd rather I'd rather go to a gig and perform and stuff.
I think you gotta strike a good balance because I think it's so easy to, especially when we are at the level where we need the means to like basically we need a job during the day to
exactly, yeah.
live
Yeah,
and to like make our money from, and then you're also devoting time for your actual career. But then I think this is one of the things when months ago I did a couple of months, I did the no couple of months, God, a year or so ago, but just before I came to London, I started running. I did a couple of charity gigs on, and I realized like just to do that it was a nightmare. And then I realized that I don't want to do it, like as much as I appreciate, like running. But then again, it's just that I found that okay, this gives me way too much anxiety, and this makes
yeah.
me way too uncomfortable.
Especially for charity as well. I done as part of my marathon fundraising. I done a charity gig, and I can't thank my dad and the venue enough because they really helped me with the actual audience in a way because everyone there was like family friends, was like cousins and all my dad's friends from school and my mum's friends and stuff like that. So that was really lovely that they all come and supported. Obviously, the acts were great, but because it's for charity, you're really like, and you've got to obviously make it non-bringer if it's for charity, and I wanted to give a proper show, give all the acts 10, 15 minutes, and all of that stuff. But you're like, it's for charity. I really need people in here,
Yeah.
not only for the raising the money, but also for the comics. I done it in like Forest Gate area, Upton Park, and it was quite like it's quite a dodgy area, and when you're running a gig, you want to look after your acts, you want to make sure they get home safe,
Yeah.
and you're like you want to make it worth it. You want these acts to come and make their gig good, make them. It's a Friday night that you don't want to waste their time, and you don't want them to come have a bad gig and then have a bad journey home. So that was always like on my mind.
Wow.
It's like you're balancing like the worry of, is it going to be a good show? Are the acts going to enjoy themselves? Are they going to be audience? Are they going to enjoy themselves? Are the acts right for the audience? It is a nightmare. It is a whole big pressure. But when you're running an open mic, so much more relaxed because shamelessly, it is a bringer show, and I know there's whole big debates on Facebooks, and I love to read them and not get involved, but there's big long forums on Facebook about bringers good or bad, and it's a great debate because there's pros and cons completely, but it makes our job so much easier. Our venue that we used to have in Lancaster Gate, we started building a real core audience there. This guy and his wife, they come to our first ever show, and then was there for the first three, I think. Then come back a month later, and then so over the course of a year, was definitely there at like 8 or 9 gigs, and they loved it every time, and that was
Nice.
really lovely to see that. And then towards the end, before we lost the venue, we had a group of American girls who were in London for uni doing like a part time um, like, part time term abroad thing, and they loved it. They come because it was every other week. I think they come like 4 shows in a row, and by the fourth one of the girls, Lauren, we actually got on stage and she done 5 minutes, and that was really fun. I wasn't unfortunately I missed it. I was gutted. I missed that one, but I've seen the video because we have a videographer who films it. Seen the video of her, and Desmond said himself she was great, and that's really fun to do that. Like just to bring people from the audience, give people
Yeah.
their first gig, see people do their first gigs, and hopefully she's gone back to the States now, but hopefully she's still doing it and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I agree, and I think I think about one of my favorite. There are actually two nights in Manchester that I absolutely loved when I started, and they were open mics. And
Like still running?
yeah,
Yeah.
there is one's the Comedy Balloon is like over 20 years old now,
Oh, nice.
and the other one is Stage and Radio, Stage Time at the Stage and Radio, and they got into like a huge thing now because I even remember like very like they popularity wise it exploded, and also I think of times when we'd go there at the beginning and it would just be just comics going through stuff because it was like a show up to go up sort of thing, and then you kind of
Right,
go
yeah.
into a rotation, and then
like the lines then when you just turn up kind of thing.
yeah, that kind of thing, and then it basically the night runs for as long as there are comics.
Yeah.
And then slowly you got people just like being again in the audience randomly just because they like heard this like people are trying new material, they come in and they check it out. And then I think there were many examples of people who actually just stumbled across the night by accident, and then months later they're like, I'm gonna perform now.
Exactly.
And they are doing it, and you're like, oh my god, this is great, because I remember one time there was someone who I've seen as an audience member, and then I walked in because I remember I was like rushing between, like doubling up or like tripling sometimes around the town, and then but I remember like walking in like to do my spot, and then seeing that person that was like an audience member a few weeks before, I was like, oh my god, this is wild, this is so cool. I think because you similar to your story, my story is very much like I thought about doing stand up actually through the pandemic.
Yeah.
But then there was nowhere to do it. And
Yeah.
also I wasn't using social media. So I couldn't get the gigs either. And I was like oh yeah, I'm just gonna email the Comedy Store.
Oh really?
But
the Manchester one though.
Yeah, no, no, I haven't. But I'm saying that was like my train of thought. Yeah, I just thought, I can just like, I'll just email the MEN and
there
be
must
like,
be so many people that do that though. There must be people because obviously the other side, we get emails from people that are like, I've never done comedy, but that's what the other side's for. It's for like new material. It's for people on their first couple of gigs as well as much later on as well. But I can imagine that like Top Secret or Up the Creek, people just kind of turn up and go, oh, like give me a go.
yeah, give me a go. Yeah, I'll be like, I'm funny. My mates told me I'm funny.
Oh,
I'll just it was
that is, that's heckler. That is, like when you go to go to a club, that the type of people to do that to, they're the hecklers. I've been at a few. So there's a venue in London. It's like it's for open mic, but the actual venue of it is downstairs, got a stage and everything. Nice room, but the toilets are on the other side of the stage, and they're the only toilets at the pub. So people would come and have a drink after work, or whatever, but have to come into the gig to use the toilet. and it's normally it's not a problem. Normally, like people are lovely. People are more embarrassed of themselves being there. They don't want to interrupt. They don't want to make a scene. They're like, oh no, I'm so sorry. They don't want to cause anything, but there you do like maybe every 1 out of 10 people using a toilet, you get like a drunk geezer thinking he's the funniest person in the world walking in and chucking a heckle. Or once I was sitting there watching a show and because I was there as a bringer, so I wasn't even performing that night. And I was sitting there watching, and this guy, he went to the toilet, and he come out, and he nudged me because I was sitting near the toilet. He nudged me and went, "I'm funnier than this guy," and I was like, "Fuck off, mate! No, you're not." Like trying to act like we're mates that I've been drinking with.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy,
I know this guy.
and
Oh,
it's just people like that, man.
but because you were saying earlier about doing the charity nights,
Yeah.
to raise money for the for your like fundraiser.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you a runner?
I no, not at all. But I done the
Do you wanna-
marathon. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's the thing. Do you want to
Yeah.
tell us like how did you get how did you get into it? Like what made you
So
do it?
a few reasons, I did when I was about 19, 20. I did run just like for fitness and use the gym for fitness, mental health, all that stuff, like the reason why most like average Joes use the gym or run. I wasn't, into bodybuilding or anything like that. But I'd use gym and go for a run. And then my sister, who does running quite a lot, she's really good. She done the marathon in 2021, I think it was, and the first time I'd ever watched it live. And we went there, went to support my sister. She done great. She smashed it. But when you're watching it, it's so inspiring. It really is. Like it's tough to stand there and watch, but when you actually see all these people, all people of all shapes and sizes, all parts of the world, everything running, you would expect in your head, oh, everyone's going to be like really fit, like uber athlete, all that stuff. But no, it's just normal people doing a marathon, and it's really inspiring. And from that, I always like wanted to. And I think I was 21 at the time, so I said, oh, when I'm 24, I'll do the marathon. Just in my head, I just said it, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Just like I would tick it off the bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really let my fitness go. Last year, I was really just socializing, drinking beer a lot, eating burgers. Like not caring, not actually taking care of myself or using the gym as much as I used to, kind of thing. And then when the marathon happened in 23, I was like, oh shit. I said I'm going to do it next year. It's next year. I'm going to have to enter. So I entered the ballot, and I didn't get in through the ballot. But then loads of charities then emailed me, like just like mailing lists, like standard email. They email everyone and say, you didn't get in through the ballot, but if you'd like to run, you can run with us. And Samaritans was one of them. And Samaritans, it is a charity that kind of means, well, it does mean a significant amount to me. When I was struggling at uni through the pandemic, struggling through mental health, I had like intense thoughts at the time, and things like I needed the Samaritans. I was one of the people that needed them, and I used them, and they really helped me out, as well as like the NHS and actual like facilities and therapists and everything like that. But the Samaritans also was part of that. And when I got that email, I was like, yeah, I would love to run for the Samaritans, because I know what they do, and I know what they do is great. I know that they're a great charity, and I admire everything they do. So I just emailed them back. You had to like do like a personal statement kind of cover letter, kind of like when you're like applying for uni or a job or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, why do you want to run for us? And I just told them, I've used you in the past. You're great. You're a great charity. All that. And then I used comedy in the personal statement to say, I run comedy shows. I've been doing comedy. I can not only tell people in my set that I'm doing the marathon, I can tell people at the gig I'm doing the marathon, but also I can run a comedy show. And I did. I ended up running 4 in aid of the Samaritans. One of them was like a real proper fundraiser that was like dedicated for the Samaritans. Like it was a real like a proper kind of organised the acts, gave proper slot times, all of that. And the others, it was just the other side. And Imran helped me out at Square Go, where we just run the open mics as normal, but we done a little raffle in the interval, and had just like all the donations. At the end of open mics where you take
Yeah.
donations, all the donations went to Samaritans as well. But yeah, and I chose the Samaritans, and then and the fundraising wasn't I wouldn't say easy, but it was fun. It was enjoyable, but the running, that was tough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The running, it was. So, like I said, I did. I when once I actually start to run in the training, I was good to go. But I don't know. I'm just such a lazy person. I'm so lazy that I'd come home from work. And the whole day at work, I'd be like, yeah, I'll plot a route on the phone on my laptop. I'd know what distance I want to do, what time I want to do it in. But I'd get home and I'd be like, I really don't want to go for a run. I really just want to like watch telly, you know. But I'd done some decent amount of training, not as much as I told myself I would. It was also like to do the marathon for me. I thought it would help me with my health and fitness. You know, it helped me cut down on the fast food and the alcohol and all that stuff. But that I used anything as an excuse. Anything I could. I think the best one was I tried to do dry January as well, and we had the other side on like the 4th of January. So I'd gone 3 days dry, and I went to the gig. And it was pouring down with rain,
Yeah.
and so from Paddington Station to the venue, which is like 8 minute walk, I got drenched, and I got there, and I was like, I'm wet. I'm gonna have a beer. So if that is how low my like tolerance is to like discipline myself, like, I had no hope. But I did about 6 weeks sober and 6 weeks like eating like greens and lean meat and all that stuff, and then I'd have like a dip where I'd go to the pub that weekend and go like to Byron Burger or something like that, you know, like go out, and then I'd get back to it, um, and stuff. But it flew by. It really like 1 minute it was I was starting the training, next minute it was the day of the marathon, and yeah, really I definitely didn't run as much as I should have in training. Um, I maybe done maybe 3 runs a week, 4 runs a week when I should have done maybe 5 or
That's
something.
still good, no?
Yeah. Also the distance. I mean, I was doing. I wanted to kind of build up where I never done less than 10K. I wanted to get to a stage maybe like middle of February. But then some days I went for and I got to 5K and I was like, I'm gonna call it a day. And I'd always have that in my head where I'm like, well, I can always say it's at least I didn't injure myself. If I carried on, I could have injured myself. It was I was just using any excuse I could have.
That's a good one. Yeah, technically you're looking after yourself.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. And when I'd have a rest day, like I go, I text my girlfriend or tell my mum, I'm like, yeah, I'm not running today because I need a rest day. It's like, but you haven't run you haven't run this month, and it's the 28th. Like, yeah,
I need a rest day
every day,
from everything
every
else.
day, yeah. Oh
No,
god,
it's I think that the dips are like so natural, man. I think it's just the way it is,
mm,
and I think everything has to be enjoyable because I know I had these periods of time where because I'm very judgmental with myself.
mm,
uh yeah, not as much, I mean, to an extent with others but mostly with myself. And I'd go through these bits where I'm like, oh, I'm doing really, like, I'm training a lot. And I think even now, because I love running, and I
mm.
try to run about at least like 10 miles a week.
Yeah, yeah,
But like, for example, this week I only run, I think, 4, and I'm not going for another run today.
yeah. Well, it's boiling hot today anyway.
And also, because I played golf during the week and stuff, but then I remember in the past I used to like beat myself up for,
Mm,
but it's actually quite funny because I remember the first time when I started running and going to the gym properly, I'd go to the gym and I'd be in the gym and I'd be like, you know what, halfway through the workout or halfway through the run, I'd be like, I'm done.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
sometimes I'd start the treadmill and I'd go like level 20.
yeah,
Ah, I reckon I'm just gonna run here for about 5 hours, and like
yeah, yeah,
five
yeah.
minutes in, I'm like,
Yeah, that's it. Done.
I'm
Yeah,
done. And then I'm
yeah.
like, okay, that was enough for
Yeah.
today.
So that's what it was like with the training because it's literally the exact same. I'd be running like around where I live. I assume that's where you just run from your front door out, right? And that's what I was doing. And so it'd get to a point where no one was policing me, no one was training me or anything like that. So I'd just go, oh, I'm done, and just go home. And the marathon, obviously, you can't do that. Like once you start, like you gotta finish. There's no exit. There's no home. You don't live there. Like you have to finish it. And but it's crazy. Everyone said it before. The adrenaline takes over and all that. But it really did. It really did. Like I normally I would do a 10K run, stop to walk, catch my breath back 3 times. On a marathon. I'd done 15K and hadn't even stopped once. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I was just enjoying it. Like at the time, smiling, like the idea, oh my God, I'm actually doing it. Also, everyone was there supporting, like everyone, like little kids high fiving you, adults giving out sweets, like all stuff like that, and everyone next to you, and no one stopped to walk for a long time. So you're like in your head, like I ain't gonna be the first one. I'm not gonna be the first one to walk. If no one else is walking, neither am I. Kind of, I was trying to be stubborn about it. And then once I got to like maybe 15 miles, that's when I started to like, oh, I want to go home. I want to go home. But then like I kept going, kept going. I saw my parents or my
Oh.
sisters, saw my girlfriend on the sidelines. That was all lovely. That was all like motivational and stuff as well. And then when I got to like 20 miles, 21 miles, my foot just went. It absolutely. It was like they said maybe it was like hairline fracture. Obviously, I don't know. I never went and actually got X-ray or anything like that. But it was just all started swelling up around my ankle.
Ooh.
I could barely like walk on it. Um, it was just like it just. And then I went and sat with the ambulance, like with St John's ambulance for maybe like 20 minutes, and they iced it for me and gave me a bottle of water. And they said, "Oh, maybe we think like shouldn't finish it because you might end up turning the fracture into a break and you could end up breaking your ankle." And obviously, I think they've got to say that to people because they're at that point, they're the ones that are giving the advice. They don't
Right,
want to
yeah.
say, go on and finish it. I then broke my ankle and then try and blame them for
Yeah.
telling me to finish it, you know. And they're obviously trying to cover their own bases and be nice. And also, I had just ran 21 miles, which is like a decent amount in itself, you know.
Yeah.
But when they said we think you shouldn't finish it, all I could think about is the fact that I work on a building site, and I was just thinking, turning up to work, all the lads on site going to me, oh, like, how did you do? Like, what time did you get? And me saying, oh, I didn't even finish it. I would have been
Oh
like the
my
laughing
god.
stock of the whole building site, like the whole company, like, or and like family and friends going back into comedy and being everyone like donated 20 quid and being like, oh yeah, the 20 quid, but I didn't even finish. I didn't even do it. So I was like, no, I have to. So I laced my shoe back on and just pushed myself to finish it. And as soon as I was done, then the adrenaline hit again. There's the fact when you go past that finish line, the adrenaline of going from, oh, I'm doing a marathon to I've done a marathon and you got a medal on. I was like so energized.
Yeah.
Everyone, we then went to our venue in Lancaster Gate, the other side venue, and we had a few beers, me, Desmond, and a few other comics, and my mum and dad and my girlfriend, and everyone was like, "How are you alive? How are you like having a beer right now? How are you not tired?" And I was ready to fucking go clubbing. I was, you know, I wasn't really. I was absolutely shattered,
Yeah.
but in like mentally, I was really awake, but physically, my body was dead.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is the time of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like showing off the medal. I didn't want to take that medal off. I was thinking me and my girlfriend went on holiday a couple of days later. Went to Turkey, and I was saying to her like, oh, I'm gonna wear the medal. I'm gonna wear it on purpose. I'm gonna wear it through the metal detector. I'm gonna set it off just to let everyone know I've done the marathon. I'm gonna wear it on the beach. Like, I'm not gonna take this off. And
Imagine just getting tan.
yeah, just getting the tan line. Yeah, like
And
it has a little hole in the middle because it's got like the River Thames just having like a little hole there, and like the lanyard like having
yeah.
the tan lines. Yeah, I would have purposely not bought any sun cream to get a burn line and yeah,
Where the
yeah, where
medal
the
is.
medal is. Yeah, and
Yeah.
just kept it on and showered with it and everything. But no, I took it off straight away. But yeah,
It makes sense because I think oh my god, man, that sounds amazing, and I think to get through it like that, it's wild,
mm,
and also what a brilliant cause, you know, because I
yeah,
think
yeah, definitely. Ended up 2,500, maybe a little bit more, but around 2.5 grand for the Samaritans, and they sent us an email maybe a month after the marathon, and they ended up like for me and all the other runners, they ended up getting a grand total of over 1 million, which is amazing, absolutely amazing, and it's very very deserved. They're a great charity, and there were loads of charities at that the marathon. This London Marathon actually 2024 was the most amount of runners in in a marathon, like across like the globe.
right.
I don't know the number. I think it's like 60,000 runners or something. I don't want to say and it end up being 70,000 or 50,000, but it was around that. And you think if everyone raised about 2 grand, and you know, most of those people done it for a charity, it's everyone really is smashed it. Yeah, yeah.
But now if I can ask you about how do you got around to use the Samaritans?
Yeah, yeah. So I've always, I mean, I'm a comedian. We're all comedians. We all suffer from mental health issues, don't we? But yeah, I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I take medication for that every day. Um, but I'd always been I've had certain phases of suicidal thoughts, certain phases of really trying to act on them. Over time, hasn't been for a long while now, but it used to be. And when I was at uni, being away from home, being living on student finance and COVID, and having no pubs were open, no social places. We weren't allowed to go to our lectures. You had to do everything from your bedroom. No clubs, no football, nothing. So it kind of got to me a bit then, already having like uh like depression and negative thoughts and stuff. Um, it kind of got I just got to that phase where it was either one or the other, either going one way or actually getting serious help and getting trying to really move on from it all and actually you know use resources that are available, and they're a great resource. They're free to call, they're always there and they're always to help, and they have recommendations as well if it's serious. And especially I think during the virus they must have been called more than they've ever been called before. They must have done, you know. um and they then help you. I mean, my uni was great as well. Though my uni was great, Portsmouth. They really helped me. They had a great mental well-being facility linked closely with the NHS too. But then they sent me to NHS for a few weeks, and that was really helpful. But the Samaritans was kind of the first point of contact for me,
Wow.
and if it wasn't for them being on hand, then I don't know what the like the pathway following that would have become. So, and I got a lot of love and respect for them. And the best thing actually about doing the marathon for them, not only giving back to them and stuff, and also using like, I mean, I don't have many followers or anything, but to just use my Instagram and just talk about the Samaritans and try and talk about mental health in a way. Um, I ended up on one of my charity events. I had two listeners, callers, two girls. They didn't know each other, but two actual people who worked for Samaritans come and watch the comedy show, and I spoke to them, and they were really lovely, and I got to thank them firsthand for what they're doing, and that was really lovely. And they're great, and they're saints, they're Samaritans. So yeah, it's lovely. Yeah,
That's amazing, man.
yeah,
And I think yeah, I agree. I mean I agree. I see your point a lot into like when it's either one or the other, and it's interesting because I was curious as well because you kind of covered it with like, oh, uni was helpful as well, things like that,
yeah,
because I was genuinely curious because basically just for like context, I have not used. I've only started use. No, actually, no, I'm lying. I think through COVID, through the lockdown, I
yeah,
used like an assistance program as well. But basically, again, it was something through. I think it was actually an American based. Just because that was the one that I got like access like to the phone number because
yeah,
I
yeah,
I went through like a website that was for work, and but it was just so weird to like
mm,
talk to someone else. And I think that was the first time, and I was 20, so I had ideations and I had like um plans and things like that since I was 14. That was the first
yeah,
time when I tried
yeah,
to end my own life. And then when I was now 23,
mm,
so almost like 9 years later, and that was the first time I said it out loud
yeah,
that I've considered killing myself. And then I remember this was a lady who picked. I mean, someone like, again, it was someone with a lady-like voice. If I
mm,
may say, yeah, who picked up the phone, and then they were like, okay, well, and they start talking to you, and it was just so bizarre. It was
yeah.
so weird, but I also like to say it to actually have the,
Definitely.
and that's why I was just curious, like kind of, how you got across it, because then you've been, you know, what do you like? Were you speaking with? Because you were talking about like, the pubs being closed and stuff like this. Were you quite like open? Were you like chatting with friends
No,
and family? No.
no, not at all, not at all. I never really opened up about anything like that. I mean, if anything, you use those places as escapisms for your own mind. Um, you go out, you have a good time, you have a laugh, you make memories,
Yeah.
you joke around, you watch football on telly in the pubs, or you go to the games, or just like cinema, thing like anything, go to restaurants, things like that. But when it was COVID, and you feel trapped in your own mind.
Yeah, they are taken away from you.
Yeah, you've and as much as I lived with people in my house, and they were friends and all of that stuff, and everyone's online, you got the FaceTime and the Zoom and all that stuff, but you do feel a bit kind of imprisoned in your own mind, especially when you have negative thoughts, and it kind of when you keep talking to yourself negatively and it keeps going on and on and on. And then when you finally do have someone on the phone that you can talk to about that stuff, when you get it all off your chest, out the open, it's so like relieving. It's like it is like a weight lifted off your shoulder, and then you can look at yourself from a lens and be like, I was being too deep there. I was being too serious. That that isn't the case. And then you talk with someone about it, and you're like, actually, yeah, that was I was wrong for thinking that. That was too intense. That was I should have dealt with this situation this way, and I should have communicated like this. And it is so helpful, and it is so necessary, because otherwise, you're just fighting yourself for no reason, and you're just arguing and conflicting in your own mind, uh, and you don't need to be. And it's just so like difficult to make that first step. But then as soon as you do, as soon as you have like even the first or second, because then I then got on the phone therapist at the time, just after these kind of steps, and even just being in that room, in my room, but on the phone to someone who was just willing to listen and willing to give advice, it was like you almost didn't even need their advice, because you knew their advice before they said it. Because when you say things out loud, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have. Why was I thinking like that? Why was I being so intense? Why was I being so down on myself? And you almost scare yourself. The fact that I was, you know, planning on killing myself. I was
Yeah.
writing suicide notes and and self harming. And when you look back on that, even a couple of days later, when you're talking about it out loud, you're almost you feel not embarrassed, but almost like I yeah, why was I doing that? Kind of thing. And sometimes you just need someone to you tell it all to, they listen, and then they just repeat back what you said, and you're like, yeah,
I
yeah,
get
you're
it.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like, oh, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And because are you seeing someone now, like a regular, as in like, do you see?
No, not recently, not for a while now. I had the last time was maybe about last year.
Okay.
Um, but I kind of got to a point where it was like I got discharged from mental health facility in 2021 after spending a few weeks there, and that was like another feeling of adrenaline, right? Going there every day, um, doing like tasks, write paper tasks, writing stuff down, doing exercises with them, taking medication and trying to like build more healthy lifestyle, all that stuff, and then having a therapist that I would then go out with to because I lived in Portsmouth, we'd go and sit by the sea together and talk through things, and at that time we was just talking about her family life, my upbringing, her upbringing. This lady, she was amazing, Angela, but she was um about 60 years old, and we were just talking like best friends kind of thing. It was lovely. And when I went back, we'd go back to the NHS and stuff. They then they discharged me after a few weeks, and that adrenaline. I remember walking out of there thinking like my life has finally just started. I remember like it was sunny. It was really sunny, lovely, hot weather in Portsmouth. It was about 3 years ago now, and I remember that day like walking out like my whole life's about to start now. Finally, I figured it all out. They really helped me. They've opened my eyes that because also sometimes you're you want to do something and you're too afraid to do it, or you want to talk about yourself in a certain way and you're too embarrassed to be the person you want to be. And that kind of like, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Like I really felt I am who I am and I can be who I am and all that stuff. And that was incredible. And then when I went home, I had a few online things, a few GP appointments, a few phone calls and stuff. But it, I don't know why, but I kind of just got to a point where I was just so happy. I obviously I have down days. God knows I have many down days, just like everyone does. But not enough, not as much as it used to be. There's all of the stuff that happened. I've taken so much into account, and that's always on my mind. That I know how to deal with myself. I've learned the lessons from that they taught me, and now I know how to deal with myself um, from what I learned, rather than going down bad places, going down like rabbit holes and stuff. So yeah, and also like I mean, health, fitness. I think comedy for me really, because I'm always just focused on comedy. I'm always just focused on both. That's why I run the other side so much. You know, Desmond says it, and everyone says it, how I'm so like on the admin, because if I'm just focused on that, if I'm working towards progressing that, progressing comedy for me, trying to write new stuff, like fix my set, and polish it and all that stuff, and try and like keep getting better and better and better. That is like the mindset of like pushing forward and moving forward, rather than thinking about the past, thinking, oh, I wish I'd done this then, I wish I'd done that then. Instead, just looking towards the future and just keep moving forward. And the marathon was such a perfect way to do that as well, because you had that deadline of the 21st of April, and it was, you know, it was December, January, February, just going, right, 2 months left, 1 month left, keep running, keep pushing, keep dieting, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then we had our holiday just after that, relaxed, and then was back onto the comedy, and that's kind of the mindset I have now. Where if I keep, which it isn't always great, because then you burn out and you need a rest and you need to sit back and relax. But at that, instead of sitting back doing nothing, thinking, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that, I'm not good enough, um, I wish I could be this person, I wish I could do that. Instead, telling yourself you can be, and they're all the lessons I learned back then, and I really try and put that into my everyday life all the time. Yeah,
Man, that's amazing. And I think the like yeah, striking the right balance. It's something that we
definitely.
learn
Yeah,
as we do it. But you're right. It's more about what are you doing to actually like do something that you care about, to like you to basically do something that aligns with your values rather than
mm,
wishing of doing something. And it's always
exactly.
it's a nice way to look at it for sure.
Mm.
Now, this was wonderful. I genuinely, I had no idea about so many of the things that you
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
and I'm struck to an extent, and I'm like, oh my god, this is, um, it's been wonderful, and yeah. Well, now before we wrap it up, I want to ask you, um, again, look, this is what this is for, plugging, okay?
yeah, yeah.
So, where do people find you? Whether you got anything coming up over the summer? Obviously, you're running the other side, so there is always something happening there.
Yes,
But
yeah.
yeah, just tell us where to keep it to stay in touch with you, basically.
Yeah, so for my own self, Henry Reilly on Instagram, just Henry underscore Reilly. I just put on my stories and stuff, just like the nearest gigs that I'm doing, whether I'm doing one that day or the next day, kind of thing. Always reposting other people's posters and other nights, and trying to promote everyone else's nights as well. You know, like share the love and stuff. But the other side on Instagram, it's the other side comedy. We run open mics only in Hampstead Heath now, which is a shame. The Lancaster Gate one was a great venue, but it's been and gone now. But the Hampstead Heath one is a great venue. The Roebuck Pub every other Thursday. We might be looking at changing the schedule, because we might do it every Thursday. We might do it less. We don't know yet. But at the moment, it's every other Thursday in Hampstead Heath. Free entry, all of that stuff. Open mic, new material. And the one thing I do really want to plug is Camden Fringe, because it's at a great venue. It's the Canal Caf Theatre in Little Venice. In the canal in Little Venice, it's a boat. It's a proper stage. It's a proper comedy club style room. I'm really looking forward to that. It's paid. It's a paid event, paid tickets. Um, so please come to that. Uh, £8 or £5 if you're a student or OAP, things like that, concessions. Great lineup. Fitzgerald Honga, Reese Vaughan, Janine Younger, really great, and obviously myself and Desmond. But they're much better. Those three are the acts that you want to come and see, not me and Desmond. But yeah, that'll be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that. That's in August, the 10th of August, Saturday night. That'll be great. But other than that, I just perform everywhere. Typical open mics. Got a few. I'm starting to gig a lot outside London again. Starting to enjoy gigging outside London. Um, I've got a few in Hertfordshire and a few in Kent this month. So I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
for
mate.
everything that you're doing and what you've done. And yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, yeah. Cheers.
Right. So, how was it? Did you enjoy it? I hope you did because I did enjoy doing it, and I hope Henry enjoyed doing it as well. Now, before I go, before we speak again next week, I'm just gonna tell you real quick a thing that happened because I just remembered. Oh, by the way, before I do that, if it sounds much different from the previous episodes, just know this is the first time I've recorded it in this way. Um, there is basically been a change on the way I've recorded in person interviews. That's because of something to do with my interface and the Mac. Um, so yeah, that's I thought I'd mention that, for full transparency. But then the other thing that's happened, yeah, the other thing that's happened this week, I had to block someone I know because they were being annoying over a I guess an different views on something, and they were being annoying to the point where they will just bombard me with messages, and I just can't remember the last time when someone's been annoyed out of their belief. But it didn't work this time. And what's the point of this story? I don't know. I just think that if you see someone not replying to you, maybe figure that they don't want to talk to you rather than yeah, rather than just sending them loads of messages unnecessary that they're not going to read anyway. I haven't read them. I just saw the notifications and I was like, ah, this is getting ridiculous. But yeah, again, I don't know whether you've had your opinion changed or your belief changed because someone's been just wildly annoying and aggressive about it. But it didn't work with me this time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and you know what? I'll see you on Monday. We got some good stuff coming up. Monday or no? Actually, we'll see you on Tuesday. Sorry, I just realized there's only one episode next week on Tuesday. Thank you so much for listening and stay skillful. Bye for now.